Welcome to the Esau McCaulley podcast. I'm your host, Esau McCaulley. Today we're joined by producer Mike. Mike, you ready?
I'm ready. I'm nervous.
You're nervous?
I'm nervous.
You should be. You know, one of the cool things, we also have Justin on the podcast, Justin Giboney, President, CEO of the AND campaign. What is the title?
President Executive Director.
And author of the forthcoming book, Don't Let Nobody Turn You Around. Is that available for pre-order wherever people buy books?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Check it out on Amazon for sure.
Yes, and I have read it. It's gonna bless the body of Christ. Please buy that book. Now, one of the things I'm super excited about is that we exist here at Holy Post. We're adding new stuff, right? So you can buy swag. And I walked into the office today and they said, Esau, you have your own cup. This is gonna be exciting. Caitlin has a cup, Sky has a cup, and they said your cup is downstairs. I walked downstairs to the studio, and who has my cup? And who is drinking water out of it? Mike. And I'm just like, what are you? For those of you who are listening to the podcast, Mike literally stole my cup and drank it. Drank out of it. Go ahead. What do you want to say?
It's not your cup.
It literally has my name on it.
It's the logo of the podcast, which I've been meaning to talk to you about.
Okay, what do you want to say?
Well, I just think maybe we could incorporate like a chef's hat into it. Or, something related to me.
You see where it says Esau McCaulley, the M?
Yeah.
That also means Mike too. So you're in there.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can put it in. Well, today on the podcast, we have a lot of topics. Two of them Mike is super excited about. We will start with the easy one. We're going to talk about African American versus Black later. We're going to talk about the new album by the Clipse later. So I know those are your topics.
I've got hot takes.
But we're gonna hold back on that. And we're gonna talk about, to open up the podcast, this new law that was passed, or it's not even a law, it's a regulation. Mm-hmm. Historically, the IRS had said that churches could not endorse candidates from the pulpit, but the IRS has recently changed that regulation. And the argument that they made was just like a family would discuss things amongst, like maybe at the dinner table or something. A church meeting, it's just like a family meeting. So if you want to endorse a candidate from the pulpit, it's just like talking to your family.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, I do that all of the time. Like when I'm sitting and eating with my kids,
you endorse political
I stand up
candidates.
and I was like, Miriam, Peter, Luke, and Claire, for the school board, I want you to know who I endorse. So here's the thing. First of all, what is your take on whether or not this is a good idea or a bad idea? And secondly, do you have any history with the way that politics have been engaged from the pulpit in your own church traditions? Maybe we want to start with Mike. Are you pro or anti endorsing candidates?
I would be anti. I don't think pastors should endorse candidates.
And what about in your church? Were they ever doing anything passively aggressively?
No, we're very apolitical in my church. So we don't endorse candidates. We don't dip our toes in those waters. We stay out of it.
But like, why do you think it's a bad idea?
For so many reasons. Briefly, both of you could speak on this much better than me, but it seems like it's going to lead to more division within a single church, but even churches in the area.
Yeah.
I'm nervous for when money starts coming into it. Our candidate's going to start giving money
to churches
to endorse their candidates, and then that just opens up a whole can of worms.
I never thought about that. You don't have to give money. You can just tithe. And so let's say you're a rich candidate and you're just giving money to this church. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, are you going to expect the church that you attend, that you give money to then endorse you? What, Justin, like, this is your area. You're like your faith and politics. This is your thing. What, is this a good idea for the church? Bad idea? What do you think?
Well, the thing about it is, I don't know how much effect this has, because people are already, it wasn't being enforced, right? Okay. So you had this rule that comes from the Johnson Amendment saying that basically churches can't engage in political campaigns, and endorsing would be participation in that. But since it wasn't enforced either implicitly or explicitly, churches were already doing it. I do fear that this maybe could make it a little worse. I'm anti. I'm not in support of this. The sad thing is, there are campaigns that already give churches money. Right? Oh, so that's the bad part.
I didn't even know this. That shows you, like, no one sent my church any money.
That happens.
Maybe we don't got enough people. I don't think they're trying to swing these 70 votes in Naperville.
Maybe not.
So wait, give me some examples.
So it already happens.
Yeah, you said that churches were violating this in the spirit already, or in actuality. Can you give me an example of some of the stuff that you were seeing that you think was a violation of these things?
You would just see pastors come up and not explicitly say, hey, I'm endorsing this person, but I'm bringing him up. I really, really like him. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but you know what to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like implicitly you're doing it. And then some were even more explicit, but same impact. And my issue with it is this. I just think it can compromise putting our stamp on a political leader or somebody who's running in the campaign. It's just a bad. I've seen people get endorsed in a church on Sunday and then that next Monday literally go out and fight against religious liberty. Yeah. I've seen people get endorsed in the church and go out and do all kinds of things that were against their neighbors and bad. What benefit does the church get in endorsing somebody who could do that? Now, that's not to say that no politician has integrity. Some of them do, but I actually think the church's influence in the public square and our public witness is stronger when we don't get into all that little stuff. When we teach principles and no politician thinks that they can own the church or that they have so much influence over the church. That's how I think of it. Like when we kind of stand back from that and don't get in the middle of it, I think we're actually stronger. But
I think the church is best when it's dangerous. And one of the things that I find kind of boring is that, like, we know what churches are going to say and we understand. So like we say, if I know no matter what I say or do, I have your support, then it's not going to actually influence the politicians to do what is right. And it feels more to me when a church endorses a particular candidate, it seems to me like they're trying to cozy up to that candidate rather than to get concessions from that candidate. Because once you have the endorsement, there's no more accountability. You can't, I've never seen people retract an endorsement. That's very rare. So basically, an endorsement happens on the front end of something, and then you hope that they keep whatever promises they make. But after the election is over, it doesn't matter whether they keep those promises. The other thing that I want to say, the difference between an issue and a person is that an issue allows you to be like, I think the churches should, let me say this another way. I think the churches should engage on political issues. And when I say nonpartisan, I don't mean like politically neutral. I mean, we don't stomp for any particular party. But that doesn't mean that in a given case, the church can't say, in this particular issue, on this place, this politician is right, or this policy is correct. And on this case, and I think that at least has the politician has to make the moral calculus. If I make this move, I know that I'm going to potentially lose my base. Now, when I was a kid, we did have I was a part of a kind of an activist, but like pretty gospel-centered church. But we were big in the South, had like 1,000, 2,000 members when I was a kid. And so we had politicians come all of the time. We had Republicans and Democrats come, at least as much as you could be a Republican and Democrat in like local races. And my pastor would do the exact same thing every time. He would often say, he would recognize so-and-so is visiting with us today. We actually had a point in the service where the visitors could just stand up and introduce themselves. And they could say, I'm so-and-so, and say, this is guys running for office. But then he would say, I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. It wasn't even passive aggressive. Like, I don't tell you who to vote for from the pulpit, but ask me outside the church and I'll give you my opinion. And so that was basically like.
Do you think that's better?
Yeah, to me, it was.
Well, how is that different?
Because if anybody came, whoever you were, so-and-so, thank you for visiting. Mm-hmm. We have a policy in this church that we don't endorse candidates from the pulpit. I don't think that's what this is for. But if you want to ask me my personal opinion, ask me outside of the church. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like a wink, wink, ask me outside of the church for my good friend here. It was just like a general statement. Because sometimes, we had black and white candidates, conservative and liberal, whatever, and he would just basically say the same thing. And I wasn't locked into politics when I was a kid, so I actually didn't know, as it was happening, which one of these candidates he preferred. Mm-hmm. So for me, it wasn't a politically neutral church in the sense that it was not engaged in politics. It was politically neutral in that he didn't endorse candidates. But part of it, I think, for him was like, we were in the South and he was afraid of like the nonprofit status. Sure. So like that law felt like it was a real thing in our community.
I've seen a critique I've seen a critique on the right towards people who are against this change by the IRS, saying that, hey, the black church has been doing this in America for decades. Yeah. How would you respond to that? Yeah, I'm glad that you asked me that. You asked, that took a lot of courage. I saw your voice quivering.
So let me say a couple of things. I don't think that any tradition is above criticism. And I don't think that every single engagement in the political square in every Black church has always been helpful. But it is important to put these things in a context. And coming out of slavery, the most educated and well-resourced people in the community was the Black church. They often were the business leaders, the educational leaders, and the spiritual leaders of the community. That was the one place where the community could actually gather outside of the majority culture's context. If you worked anywhere else, like if you had a job in the majority culture, then your job and things were often on the line if you did anything that was political. So if you wanted to have access to someone in the Black church who was independent, it was often the African-American pastor because he was economically independent from the majority culture. It's also why, coming out of slavery, they were the first ones who were elected to office. And this is the important part to put into context. It doesn't make everything that happened after correct. And Justin can add to this if he wants to. We forget that when the Black church started, slavery was not just a moral issue, it was a legal issue. And so they didn't have the luxury to separate politics from the spiritual lives of the people. They had to answer the question in the pulpit, what does God say about the laws that are happening in this country? So because of that, the Black church was often politically engaged from the beginning. And I don't actually think that idea is bad. I don't think that it's bad for Black churches to be politically engaged in the issues of the day that impact the economic lives of their people. Now, do some of those things, I think, go too far and come into de facto uncritical affirmations of politicians sometimes? Yeah, and when that happens, I kind of go, I don't think that's the best idea. But when you have in a majority culture context, these things that are separated, business leaders, spiritual leaders, and educational leaders, such that there's a variety of people that you can go to, that was concentrated in Black churches, and that's the reason why they tend to be more politically engaged. That leaves something out, Justin, is something you want to push back on?
I think you made a good point. I'm not going to get too deep into it because I only believe in critiquing white evangelicals and not anybody else. So I'm just kidding. Now, I think you hit it on the head. I mean, E. Franklin Frazier talks about this in the Negro Church in America, right? The church was the center of economics, politics, social, and all that. So that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
Does that justify it? No, it doesn't justify some of the things we've seen where you do have churches that are captured by a party.
Yeah.
You have had churches in some of these larger cities that are basically part of a political machine. And like I said before, I think that does hurt the credibility of some churches. But there are always Black churches that did not do that too. Right. So it's not a monolith, but you did have some where those lines were very blurred in ways that they shouldn't have been. Yeah. And I think we got to be honest about that.
But I also think it's really important to be careful about whataboutism and what's happening here. What I'm saying to you is we know that this regulation was not passed to help Black churches be more politically active. I mean, we know the administration that passed this regulation. And we know why, because he thinks that there's a benefit to having churches that are endorsing him. That's what's happening. And so it's fine to say no one is above critique. It's fine to say there can be excesses on both sides. But we can't also be unaware of where the political and economic power in America actually is. And having those two things to be true at the same time, I just don't agree. So me personally, I don't think anybody actually is going to come to my church and ask for an endorsement. But I don't think I would ever endorse a candidate. I would talk about issues. I don't think I will ever have a politician speak from the pulpit in my congregation. But in our church every Sunday, whoever is in power, whether it's Republican or the Democrat, we pray for the president and we pray for the governor. So it is JB, our governor, every single week, and it is Donald Trump, our president. Before that, it was Biden. I guess JB's been the governor for a minute. Yeah. And so that, to me, that is how I try to engage politically. I'm not above engaging in stuff. I'm just not going to co-sign, because the moment I co-sign, there comes along with the things that I'm not necessarily interested in. Now, the next thing that, since you're here bringing in Black church takes, we can have you answer this question first. Justin, there was an article that me and you were talking about before we got online about African American versus Black by, is it McWhorter? What's his first name?
John McWhorter.
John McWhorter in the New York Times. Can you summarize like the argument that he was trying to make and let us know what you think about it? Actually, don't tell us what you think about it first. We're gonna let Mike weigh in first. But tell us what's going on here.
I needed to hear what Mike's gonna say to form my opinion. Anyway.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
So basically, John McWhorter is a Black conservative thinker. He's a associate professor at Columbia University, and he's a linguist. So he focuses on language. And the reason that Black versus African American has come up again is because Zohran Mamdani, who is running for mayor in New York City, when he was going to college on the application, he put that he was African American or Black.
Yeah.
Now, he's actually South Asian, but he grew up in Uganda. So technically, he's African American. Yeah. The point McWhorter makes is if he's African American and Elon Musk is African American and Cedric the Entertainer is African American, now these other people, African American doesn't really mean much. And so he doesn't think it's a problem what Mamdani did. Yeah. He thinks the problem is African American shouldn't be used because it's used as to describe a certain group, but it doesn't do that because it's too broad. And so he thought that Black should be used. Now, just for a little bit of history, we started calling ourselves African American, I think, in the 80s, based on Jesse Jackson, who was I think, trying to use it as a euphemism for Black. And he gets into how those euphemisms never work, but that Black is more accurate.
Yeah, I think we want to say before we move on, Mamdani was not trying to trick people, from what I can tell. It was just hard to describe what he actually was. As someone who had grown up in Uganda. And
he could have put Asian, though, I think.
I think what I'm saying,
it went against the spirit of the question. But he knew that they weren't talking about him.
I think that we have to follow up on this, but I'm pretty sure I read an article about this where he actually clicked multiple things, and when he wrote it in, he explained it. So in other words, it wasn't just Black and nothing else. It felt like he clicked like a couple of different things, and he was trying to capture it. And then I think he talked about it in the thing. But we can get to that part later. Hi, it's Esau. If you're looking for another fascinating podcast that touches on religion and spirituality, I have the perfect recommendation for you. The Signal award-winning show, No Small Endeavor. As a friend and recent guest of the podcast, I can truly say it's worth a listen. Produced by Great Feeling Studios and PRX, No Small Endeavor explores what it means to live a good life. Each episode, host Lee C. Kemp sits down with special guests like pastor and theologian Tish Harrison Warren, civil rights hero, Reverend James Lawson, and one of the world's most influential living theologians, Stanley Hauerwas, to discuss how their faith shaped their journey. If you're looking for a place to start, check out their recent episode with Americana songwriter Drew Holcomb, in which he unpacks how creativity is a way to overcome fear, make something that didn't exist before. It's a beautiful heart-to-heart. Don't miss out. Follow No Small Endeavor on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast.
Zones feel got him doing football numbers, only average grown. He was acting grown.
So, Mike, what do you think? Should we be called Black? Should we be called Black or African American? Or you can phone a friend, or you can jump in right now.
Oh, I've got a take.
Oh, you got a take.
As the white guy on the podcast, I think it's my time to shine.
Here it is.
I think I have to go. I have another meeting.
You gotta go.
So I'll do this another time. I'll write it up. Yeah.
So this is what I think about this. I actually use both. I use Black and African American sometimes for like just linguistic diversity. When you're writing, you just want to put Black, but I also think it's important for me because there is a sense in which I meet my African brothers and sisters. And when I do, a lot of them will say I'm like Nigerian or I'm Kenyan or I'm Igbo. And so like they tend to have an idea of their nation and their tribe. And so they may use that language broadly speaking, but a lot of my African brothers and sisters tend to talk about their country of origin. For me, and they don't lose that. As best as I can tell, they do the same thing in the UK. And so for me, African American is a way of acknowledging that my ancestors are from Africa, but that history has been taken from me. And I could do a DNA test and find out that I'm from wherever it is that I'm from, but I wouldn't have an organic cultural connection to that place because that history is stripped from me. So to me, African American and Black describe the culture that African Americans created in this country. But that culture is not a closed thing. When people come into this country, they are exposed to African American culture that I actually think is a thing. So I'm not sure that I think that getting rid of African American is going to somehow dramatically change it. But I use both of those things to refer to the culture that African American peoples have developed on the other side of slavery from when our history was taken from us. And so that's what I use. And I don't know about you, Justin. Do you use both of them, or do you agree with McWhorter or not?
Yeah, I use both of them. I'm not too big on the semantics of it, although I don't think it's insignificant, right?
Okay.
I just haven't put a whole lot into it.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that happens is Black people who are descendants of slaves kind of get mushed into everything else. And so I think there is a distinction there that needs to be observed, especially when it comes to applications. And if we're talking about any type of diversity programs, those differences are important. Yeah. And so maybe we do think about how to make that happen. Maybe we should have never moved away from Negro. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I mean, a lot of people don't really have a problem with that, but it was more descriptive, right? Yeah. It told you exactly the people you were talking about. Because if you say Negro, you're not talking about somebody from, South America or something like that. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not big on it. I see where McWhorter's coming from, but I agree with you in that I don't think it's going to be a major change either way.
Do you think that one of the things that he was trying to get to, maybe because he's a linguist, he has this idea that language has a way of forming the imagination in a way that I'm not sure that I completely buy. And I think that language oftentimes follows in the wake of moral transformation. So I think that we went through this period of time, and I'm not going to get into the council culture stuff, but we thought if we got people to talk the right way, eventually their hearts would impact their language. Yeah. And we said, okay, don't use the language of Black because it has this connotation. Let's use African American because it has that connotation. And we went through an entire realm of not just in relationship to racial categories in a bunch of different areas. And what we found out is you can kind of police people's languages, but if they are actually jerks or difficult, as soon as the cultural winds turn, they're gonna run back the other way. I was listening. I just heard the clip, so forgive me for not getting the context of it. But it was like a Joe Rogan podcast, and they were using the R word to talk about people with different abilities. And he said the return of that word was a great cultural moment. And the idea is he was just they were just waiting on it to come back around, right? And so, but I would say this about myself, and this might shock you. I used to curse all the time. I would melt your face during my high school and early college days. And I knew it wasn't the best thing to do, but it was fine. But it was actually after I was convicted spiritually that I changed my language in the wake of that spirit. I realized for me, that's not how I want to communicate with people. And so maybe I just have this idea, not that we should be completely agnostic or indifferent about how language is used, but I'm not sure that changing people's vocabulary is always going to do the work that we want it to do. Is that an unfair thing to say?
Go for it, Justin.
No, I agree with you to some extent. And I think one of the reasons that it has a lesser impact now is because of political correctness. And I think it's gotten caught up in when you overdo it, right? It became so excessive with Latinx and all this other stuff that people just were like, okay, what are you doing? No, I'm completely done with it. So I think in certain instances, words matter. The words we use matter. But I think that's part of McWhorter's point is that these euphemisms and all that really don't just do what's the most descriptive because everything, all that other stuff fades away and it's not all that helpful.
Yeah. Maybe I'm thinking this because when I was working on my book title, it was called Reading My Black, but then the subtitle is African American Biblical Interpretation as an Exercise in Hope, precisely because I didn't want to have Black back to back. So I am, as a writer, the more synonyms I have, the better. Now, so you didn't weigh in.
Oh, you want my take? I believe what you guys said. I think that sounded great, and I agree.
You said you had a question for him, Justin.
I do have a question for him because I think we have a kind of Clark Kent thing going on here.
Oh, interesting.
And I want you to be honest with the audience.
Okay.
Are you the voice of the Bible Project?
Oh, I'm not. No.
people think that.
Honestly, bro.
You sound like that dude.
I know. I
I
don't
was
even
listening to it the other day, and I was like, dude, this is Mike. He never told us this.
Yeah,
he's undercover.
He's often like
the voice of the Bible Project.
There's times where he doesn't answer text. And like I can't get in contact with them for like hours at a time.
You know what's funny? I know the people behind the Bible Project, and they're actively their hosts are.
Wait, but you know them, but you're not on it.
They are avoiding. They want to avoid video for going forward in the future.
So they don't see your face.
I see this as an opportunity for me. I can just start claiming that I'm the guy behind the Bible Project.
No, but seriously, do you hear that?
I hear it. Listen, I think it's true. You know what I'm saying? Like the other thing is like. You may not notice this, but he's been dressing a little bit nicer. I mean, like I can see the cash flow, like it's increased.
Wait, is there cash flow that I'm supposed to be getting?
Even if I was, what I took
from
what he just said was, even if I was, I couldn't tell you.
Exactly, that was the thing. Yeah,
we're not doing it. We're staying away from camera.
Just
Come on, guy.
Yeah. So
put two and two together. Let's connect the dots.
Our last topic that Mike is just trying. Mike is trying to get through the podcast. Mike is just trying to.
I just don't want to lose my job by the end of this podcast. That's
Mike,
all I'm trying to do.
You're good. We love you, Mike. So, I'm gonna let people behind the window. We text back and forth. We have like a group text to let people know about the topics, and we began to discuss them. And as we were talking about the African American versus Black topic, Mike went silent. There was like no Mike responses. He was afraid to even put the emojis of like, should I thumbs up? What should I do?
But you remember at the very end, I sent one text like, "Don't worry, guys, I'll lead the discussion."
Yeah, there we go.
And I was terrified you were going to take me seriously.
And so the other one that he was afraid of is there's a hip hop group called the Clipse. And they just put out an album that over in Black spaces is gaining a lot of attention. So to give you some context about the Clipse, they were a hip hop group in the late 90s, early 2000s, somewhere when they debuted. Yeah. And their main thing was, we sell a lot of drugs. Like we sell copious amounts of drugs.
Like aspirin?
No,
Tylenol?
Like illegal drugs.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Just follow me here.
Gotcha.
And that was their thing. And they were extremely popular. And one of their members, and their dad actually was a deacon, and one of their members named Malice became a Christian.
Okay.
And he changed his name from Malice to No Malice.
Oh, I see what he did there.
And yeah, you see what he did, No Malice. And then he left like hip hop. He's like, well, he left secular hip hop for a long time. He did like a gospel rap album.
Was it good?
I mean, he's a good rapper, but like, it wasn't the best, but he's like super talented.
Okay.
So now he comes back to the group.
The same group. And now, but he's still like strongly a Christian. All the other guys are still drug dealers.
There's only two of them.
And the other guy is still...
Sorry, I left this part out. It's just so hard to explain it to people who don't know. They're brothers.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And there's only two of them. So he comes back to rap with his brother again. Okay. And now he's a Christian. And he's going on this like media tour where he's saying, I'm just here to glorify God and rap with my brother. And so they put out the album, but the brother, who doesn't actually sell drugs anymore, he's a multimillionaire, they're 50 years old, and the brother raps the entire album for the most part about selling drugs. That's still the main topic. And Malice is trying to like navigate in his lyrics, both describing his past, almost like this is the stuff that I used to do, but also in some places describing the consequences of it and even talking about his turn to God in places. And so to me, it's a very interesting listen to see how someone navigates being in this kind of completely secular space and making sense of trying to be a person of faith. Did I capture that well, Justin? I'll leave something out.
No, I think you captured it pretty well. I mean, it's this thing to say, me and my brother, I mean, these guys can really, really rap.
Yeah, so that's the other part. They're probably one of the best rappers.
Yeah, and so I'll tell you this. I think you covered it well.
Yeah.
For me, this has been a tension for a while, and I've been conflicted for a while just in general about what should I listen to. And I was talking to my staff about this the other day, like, I like rap. I like hip hop. Yeah. There's certain stuff that I struggle with. Should I be listening to this? And there's certain stuff that I know I shouldn't be listening to. Like there's stuff that's out of
I was backslide in that moment. Yeah.
So I really wrestled with this, and I'm trying to find a faithful way to go about it, right? To say, do I just need to throw all this away? Because some of it is art, even if it's not Christian.
Yeah.
Here's my problem. So I'm going to give Malice or No Malice.
He's back to being Malice.
Yeah, I'm gonna I know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt that he's trying to find a way through this tension, and maybe what he's doing can reach somebody. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Did he pull it off?
Yeah.
It's it's there's a lot of argument that can be had there. Pusha-T, man, is really like when I listen to what he was saying. Yeah, the other brother's Pusha-T, who can really, really rap. And like hardly anybody is as vivid with his drug raps as Pusha-T is. Like that's what he's known for.
Yeah.
The problem I have with Pusha-T though is they're like 50 or whatever now, right?
Yeah.
He even in this album, he's like, man, I see how the system does black people. I see how the government does black people. I'm a proud black man who stands against that. And I sell drugs to my people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And and the whole thing I'm talking about is selling drugs to my people. And I'm selling poison. And then, so to me, it's just like, come on, you got to choose something. Like you're this much older. You can't find anything else that you could possibly be.
You're 50 and there's no moral progress. So
that you could possibly be rapping about.
Let me ask you this question, because I know that you're a huge Clipse fan.
Huge.
So what is, if you had to say your diet of like music and media consumption, well, do music. Like what percentage do you say? I would say like 75 to 80% of the time, maybe even higher. I'm sorry, I listen to a lot of Christian. I listen to mostly Christian hip hop, and I listen to a lot of gospel music. I guess if you kind of add in like kind of soul music, I would say like 90% of the music that I listen to is either Christian or basically like morally relatively neutral.
Yeah.
So how would you describe your diet? Are you mostly a secular guy?
It's funny. When I first became a believer in high school, I kind of went the route of like, I can only listen to Christian music, threw away the other stuff. I remember going to college and into a Christian college at that. And one of my friends was looking at my giant binder of CDs and he's like, I've never seen so many Christian CDs in my life. Yeah. And so like, since then I've kind of like gone the other way where it's like, I just don't really listen to Christian music. I don't listen to Caleb. I don't listen to I have no idea who the up and coming artists are. The only time I listen to Christian music is like at church on Sundays.
Oh, so no, I'm like mostly like, if you want to say Christian hip hop is probably first for me, then some gospel, and I'll also slide in some CCM. Yeah. And then when I want to yell at my kids, I make them like listen. I feel like I gotta culturally train my kids. I have this imaginary cookout. You know what I'm talking about, Justin? If my kids are ever with black people over 40, they got to recognize every song that comes on. So you got to know Whitney, you got to know Marvin Gaye, you got to know Sam Cooke. Like nobody needs to be able to say to my kids, you don't know nothing about that. They need to know about it. So like sometimes I'll just yell at them in the car. You don't know anything about this.
I feel like you've treated me like one of your kids for this kind of stuff too.
Yeah, I feel like it's literally the passing on the culture. Justin, are you mostly like? What are you listening to? What's in your
I'm a latecomer to Christian hip hop.
Okay.
Like, I didn't listen to hardly any Christian hip hop coming up. I'm a latecomer to that. So I would say that's about it's a good 30% now. Yeah. I put it on 30 because me and my kids listen to that a lot. Yeah. I do a lot of gospel, and then I'm probably 50%. Yeah. Almost 50% just like secular music. But one of the things I do with my sons, because like, okay, and I need to talk to Esau about this, but Atlanta football is like different. But they play certain kind of music that my kids otherwise wouldn't hear. Yeah. So one of the things that I found myself doing is letting them listen to some of the clean versions to kind of inoculate them. Because what I don't want them to be is those kids that never heard anything. They're like, oh, what is that? Yeah. So we can like talk through it and all that stuff. But that's pretty much my regimen. But it's something I struggle with. I mean, one thing that, go ahead.
So I have a philosophy. I'm going to solve everybody's problem. Okay. And actually, I've been, because I am like a true hip hop fan. I've been listening to it for my entire life. And I recognize that I could listen to a secular artist if they're asking interesting questions. So, and you can say, you can find this, and not in every single song, because some of the songs are just going to be whatever, and I can skip past them. But normally, are they reflecting in a genuine way about like what it means to be black in America? Or are they describing a real problem? Or sometimes they're wrestling with spiritual concerns. And a lot of artists, and you will see this all of the time, and they become like the darlings of Christians who are like secular adjacent. Outkast had this moment, Goody Mob had this moment, Kanye West had this moment, Chance the Rapper had this moment. And it's when they're like bringing in and even Kendrick has had these moments. They're reflective in the culture in the way that we can identify with. This person describes life in the way that I experience it. And the second one, they're like raising these questions. But what I found is you can normally only do that for 2 or 3 albums, and then you have to answer the question. Mm-hmm. And usually they don't answer the question and they kind of slide back into kind of some kind of nihilistic place. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of like our favorite albums are like, oh man, they're asking the kinds of questions that I think are interesting. It's almost like the first couple of episodes of a TV show. But eventually the TV show has to become what the TV show is. And what you see is these artists struggle to consistently ask those important questions in a way that doesn't feel reductive. Yeah. And the best ones, yeah. And so when I say, can I listen to this? It's like, is there anything in this thing that is asking me questions? For example, and I'll let you back in. Like, even if, like, Jay-Z had that song, No Church in the Wild. Mm-hmm. And, like, even the title of that song gave me something to say back to Jay-Z. In other words, like, when I was preaching, I was like, the church is only ever in the wild, right? Mm-hmm. And so, like, when you say only God can judge me, when you start asking these questions that I feel reflect the community that I want to serve, I can actually speak back to that music. When it's just like, and this is where I think I struggle with like somebody like Pusha, when it's just drug bars, there's nothing for me to interact with. It's just like, you shouldn't be materialistic and sell drugs to people. But what I found interesting about Malice on this album is he was often either reflecting something that I found interesting as a conversation piece, or I felt him actually struggling with it. And that was the mix of the album. Like, I was like, sometimes this feels like there's something here that I can engage. Other times it's just like drug bar. So that's my formula. Yeah. Do they ask interesting questions that become fodder for our own kind of reflection?
And that's part of my issue with Pusha-T, and I'll just kind of go back to this real quick. There's there's guys that talk about drugs in that they're just reflecting what they know and what they've seen, right? And so there's an art to it because they're saying, this is my light, this is what I've seen and what I've been around all the time. I have a little more grace for that. Yeah. Here you have somebody who's almost 50 years old who is not doing it. First of all, he's probably not selling drugs right now. And so it's really just exploiting an issue that's really hurting people. Yeah. Right? Like, you're exploiting this to make money. You're not even really living anymore. And you can't say that it's a pure reflection. But to your other point about asking the right questions, I think when it comes to that, like, Outkast is almost in a class of their own because they were so soulful. And I'll add CeeLo in the midst of that because he was kind of on that same thing. Yeah. They were so soulful and they were actually putting principles out. Yeah. But they just weren't preachy. Yeah. And I think that was the difference between Outkast and when you had like those rappers from like New York and all that who had substance, but they came off as very preachy. Yeah. Whereas Outkast, and it was put to me this way, which is real, they weren't preaching to you, they were giving you game. And I actually think Christians can learn from that. Yeah. Because sometimes you don't need to preach. Sometimes you need to give game so that people learn without being preached to.
Well, actually, one of the things about it is that's what you see in the Bible. Sorry, and I'm not equating Outkast to the Bible, so people yell at me.
I think you just did.
What I mean is that sometimes you're reading a story and you learn through reading the story what you should and shouldn't do. And it's clear the story is meant to teach you that. And so sometimes good art is descriptive in a way that makes you reflective. And so that's what I think he's trying to get at. The point is, it's hard to do that without eventually like resolving that moral tension. And because they can't make that final step to become believers, eventually they just have to say, oh, I've said too much positive stuff. I need to have a completely nihilistic like song to follow it up. In other words, they will have, and this used to be a thing back in the day, where they'd be like they would end the rap song or the rap album with like one gospelist kind of song.
I actually think Kendrick's at that place, which is why I didn't really like his last album as much as others, where he was asking those questions and then he jumps, because he even went to like a sort of a Hebrew Israelite place at one point, and now it's jumped back. Well, I got to maintain my credibility. That's what I mean. If I talk conscious too long, that's what I'm going to lose it. And I feel like he jumped back to that, which is a whole different, commentary.
And that's what I was trying to say, that you see them get there and then they kind of turn back. Now, do you expect more moral growth? Is there someone who you've been listening to for like 20, how old are you?
I am 35.
Okay, then I can say 20. You're 15. I mean, you might have somebody from you're 15. Is there anybody you've been listening to your whole life?
Oh, my whole life.
Like, if they get an album, like, you're in.
Essentially, the artist that comes to mind who has been around most of my like teenage to now and is still active. I think you guys would love this person. They're on a search.
Okay.
They've been searching up and down and everywhere, and maybe they have finally found the answer to their search.
Okay.
But it's Taylor Swift looking for her soulmate. And now she has Travis Kelce.
I thought he was going to go with Bieber.
No, not Bieber.
Do you listen to Taylor?
Casually. I'm not a big Taylor
You don't.
fan.
You don't.
I'm a white person. I have to listen to Taylor.
Oh,
it's my culture, Esau. What are you trying to say?
I've dropped some Taylor bars like here and there. I'm all too well. I can say some stuff. See, the cool thing about this is what I want people who listen to podcasts to know. When Mike jumped in, he's talking about Taylor. I can give you a Taylor. I can say Evermore. I can give you these things. I can talk about Red in 1989. I can do that.
I'm glad you can say words, Esau.
No, I'm telling you what
Titles
was happening.
of songs.
I know about Jake Gyllenhaal. I know that. Don't get me started. What I'm saying to you is when we talk about Clipse, you had nothing for us. I can at least say some words.
I could say words.
See, okay then.
Like,
who was the producer for Clipse?
It was the producer.
For real, it's okay. I'm gonna make this. We're gonna close this on a positive note.
Don't forget Kanye now. Don't forget Kanye was
Kanye.
producing them a little.
Yeah, I was talking about the most recent album. But you know that song "Happy"?
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
That was Pharrell.
Yeah, I knew that.
And he's the producer for Clipse.
Oh, I know Pharrell.
Oh yeah, he's the producer for Clipse.
Oh, well, why didn't you say so?
Because the world no. Okay, last thing before we go. What are y'all gonna be up to like for the summer? Me and my wife we had some plans because our kids were all, we would let people get some stuff to do for themselves for the summer.
Yeah.
My kids are all at camp. Mm-hmm. And now our oldest is going to hang out with their grandparents for a couple of days. So we're going to have an empty house. And we're actually thinking about going to New York City for a couple of days because believe it or not, I love live theater. That's because I contain multitudes. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. You can't reduce me to like this little box of just a Clipse. And so my wife wants to go see the musical Gypsy.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to it. So live theater is something that is a part of who I am. It's something I'm gonna be doing this summer potentially.
Wow.
That maybe we'll get a chance to do. So that's my recommendation. What is a hobby that you're interested in that you might want to explore this summer that you want to commend to the people?
I don't know. That sounds good, Esau. When do you think you're going to go? Because, maybe we could drop our kids off. And Gypsy, I'm sure
we're
tickets
busy,
are still available.
There's only 2 tickets on the plane. And Gypsy sold out. There was only 2 tickets left. We got the last 2 tickets.
All right. Well, if I can't do that, the thing that I really like doing in the summertime, I, during COVID, got into like smoking meats, brisket, ribs. And so we like to do a couple big barbecues during the summer. I'm actually doing one this week for a small nonprofit that I still help out with that I used to work for. It's for families raising kids with intellectual disabilities. But I'm cooking up brisket, ribs, some chicken.
Is there like a secret to doing it well? Can you give us like one tip? Because my wife got me a smoker for my birthday.
Oh, there you go.
A year or two ago. Is there one mistake?
Watch all the YouTube videos. No, you're wrapping too early. If you're wrapping your brisket at like 165 during the stall, you're wrapping it too early.
Okay.
You're ruining your bark.
Okay.
You should wait till like 180 and then wrap it.
Okay, got it.
There you go.
Didn't follow any of that.
Yep.
Justin, is there anything you're up to this summer that you want to commend to the people?
First, let me say to Mike, you're too kind to Esau. The moment he needs information from you, you just gave it up to him. You didn't make him work for it or anything. Does he do that to you? I don't think so. No, anyway.
That's a good point.
Yeah. That is fair.
For me, I am big on grilling. So I love grilling. Grilling is my thing. So I really do enjoy that. But even more than that, me and my wife, our big thing is outdoor concerts. So during the summer, during fall, oh yeah. I mean, I just love music. I love 90s R&B, which is part of the conversation that we had before.
So you didn't go to Essence Fest?
I used to go. I've been before. I didn't go this time around. But I do love, concerts, mostly outdoor though. We really love outdoor concerts. That's our thing.
So is there one that you?
So we're going to see Escape
Escape. Were they still out here doing stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, God bless y'all, Escape. Okay, then so you can either go to an indoor air-conditioned theater and see a live musical, or you can go outside and grill, or you can go and listen to some music with your significant other.
I think we should all go to Gypsy.
And then
everyone buy tickets.
Yeah, okay. Then
I'll put it out on socials. I'll look at Esau's calendar.
After the pod, I'll drop the link.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it.
Because Esau really said they bought the last. He knew that those were the last 2 tickets, and you bought it. And then you gave him some information after he did you like that, bro. You got to stand up for yourself.
I'm not gonna lie to you. It's like a Wednesday 7:00 show. There's tickets everywhere.
Tickets everywhere.
You can get a ticket anywhere. Like there's literally tickets right beside me.
You better. Yeah, I'm gonna get your. I know your assistant's email. I'm gonna ask them.
Thank you all.
Where you are.
Thank you all so much for listening to the podcast. We'll see you all next week. The Esau McCaulley podcast is a production of Holy Post Media, produced by Mike Stay Low, Stray Low. If you know, now you know. Edited by Seth Gorvet, like a Corvette. Music by Rob Knorr. Make sure to follow the show wherever you get your podcast and leave a review so more people can find it. See you next time. I'm out.